It's kind of funny that more often than not, every couple of months when we get some Star Wars movie news, it tends to be from Taika's script about his upcoming film, and in the past, it was pretty typical for him to make a joke, or to make a witty, light-hearted comment, but this time he's dead serious, and I think we should take him at his word. So I saw this on Bespin Bulletin's website, the original source is Entertainment Tonight, and he's provided us an update. As I say, it's not a surprising one, it's gonna make you say, well, here we go again, and I can't help but feel this is never gonna see the light of day. And I've not seen too many people in the Star Wars fandom community chomping at the bit, restlessly impatient for a Taika Star Wars film. So what has he said this time? During a new interview with Entertainment Tonight, the director who's currently promoting his next release, Next Goal Wins, shared an update on his long-awaited Star Wars flick. Waititi confirmed that the project is still in development, ending unsubstantiated online rumours from individuals or outlets with poor track records that claim the project is scrapped. And just a side note, I used to pronounce it Waititi, but in every interview he calls himself Taika Waititi, so I'm gonna go with his pronunciation. The Jojo Rabbit director went on to reveal that Lucasfilm are willing to delay his project until he completes work on not one, not two, but 4 scripts for other non-Star Wars related projects. 4 different scripts. I made a joke on Twitter that we're not going to see this film until 2058. I'm telling you, this film is never going to see the light of day. I wouldn't say this normally, but it's Lucasfilm. Look how many Star Wars projects have been cancelled, indefinitely delayed, pushed down the road. This is nothing new. And most recently, Kevin Feige's film got cancelled. And in previous interviews, it doesn't sound as though Taika takes this very seriously. But as I say, this time there are no jokes. Here's the quote. At the moment, I'm still developing something with them. He's talking about Lucasfilm. Like me, they have a lot of projects going on. I think they're gonna push it until I finish these other projects. I've got about 4 other scripts I'm trying to finish. My thing is I want to take my time with that and get it right. I don't want to rush this movie. I mean, yeah, of course, that makes sense. Quality over quantity. But if we're seeing projects that did have full entire scripts written, like Rogue Squadron, Kevin Feige's movie by Michael Waldron, who wrote the first draft, if Taika's movie is some distant future project, I don't see it any differently to Rian Johnson's trilogy. It kept getting pushed down the road, Rian Johnson kept saying, I'm busy with this and that, and eventually got scrapped. So I don't have any confidence this film is ever gonna see the light of day. They're gonna prioritize Shomi no Beit-Shinoi's movie, the one with Rey. I imagine Dave Filoni's film is gonna be a priority, maybe Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi. But with the studio, unless there are promotional pictures, a trailer, you just don't know what's going to be cancelled and what sticks. Bespin Bulletin say this. I'm sure many fans, myself included, will find this news somewhat frustrating. If you are looking forward to seeing Waititi's Star Wars efforts, well, there's an understatement. Considering the writer-director's been working on the script for over 3 years. Has it really been that long? And that seems to be no end in sight, with Taika prioritizing various other projects. Wow. Now, as you guys know, I'm all about Star Wars on this channel. I don't cover Marvel, but when I posted on Twitter about this update last night, I saw a lot of this aforementioned frustration from fans who went to see Love and Thunder and don't want Taika anywhere near Star Wars. I'm always open, especially if he wants to do something new with Star Wars, but I do worry about the sort of tone for his piece of the pie, for his corner of the Star Wars franchise. And it is frustrating, because they've cancelled projects from talented directors who have a genuine passion for this galaxy and have a meaningful story to tell. When you see what Zack Snyder is doing with Rebel Moon, something which he originally pitched as a Star Wars film, but Lucasfilm said no. He had so much faith and belief in his story that he's making it, of course, now not a Star Wars film through Netflix, but it looks incredible. And even on the Rian Johnson front, some fans don't want him anywhere near Star Wars after The Last Jedi, but he's got a very underrated creative vision. He's an extremely talented writer-director, and I would love one day to know what his trilogy was going to be about. Was it going to be a new time period? Because I imagine he would do so well, forging his own isolated Star Wars story. Many say the problem with Episode 8 was what it did with Luke, what it did with familiar characters, but that aside, the cinematography and the direction does have its merits. Bespin go on to say this. Initially it was believed that Waititi's untitled Star Wars film, which he was co-writing with Kirsty Wilson-Cairns, was aiming to release in December of 2025, following the release of Star Wars Rogue Squadron, which as we know, was supposed to release next month. Rogue Squadron was indefinitely delayed in 2021, and now seemingly scrapped, which prompted the Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy to share that Waititi's flick would take that spot. This did not come to fruition either, and shortly after Kennedy's claim, the release date held for a Star Wars movie in December 2023 was swiftly removed. And then of course December 2025 was given to the Rey film, and due to strikes and other factors, that got moved to May of 2026. So even when they tell us when things are going to happen, there is never a guarantee. I honestly don't have too much else to say about this. The situation is what it is. He's a busy man, he has other scripts to work on, but when you're talking about a franchise as monumental as cinema-defining as Star Wars, you think there'd be a bit more urgency, not just from him, but Lucasfilm as a studio. You just don't feel that magic, that oomph anymore when it comes to their marketing for upcoming projects, especially the movie side of things, which Bob Iger has said he wants to return to, but they're not giving fans any indication they have a structure plan for this, or any reason to be excited for the return of Star Wars on the big screen. The streaming side is the streaming side. Fans are generally still quite hyped about what's coming up: Andor Season 2, Mando 4, maybe Ahsoka Season 2, Skeleton Crew. But if you were to ask your casual fan, when is the next Star Wars movie coming out? Very few actually know, even those of us who cover pop culture and Star Wars. We know what they've told us, but whether things play out as they state is a different issue. Now, the final thing in this Bespin Bulletin article that is worth talking about is that in a separate interview with Business Insider, Taika Waititi states he's not going to be involved in a 5th Thor movie because he needs to focus his efforts on projects he's been signed on to for a while. And if that's a Star Wars film he's talking about, then the earliest we're going to see a Star Wars film by Taika should be around 2030, which does make sense when you look at the current Star Wars slate. And we've spoken about the other projects coming first. But Star Wars at the moment is at the bottom of his pile, and I don't think it's entirely his fault. He's very busy, but Lucasfilm probably didn't give him any indication that his project is a priority, and there has been a record at the studio of miscommunication between creatives and higher-ups. But that's basically the gist. Maybe one day we'll see Taika's project come to fruition, or maybe not. Outside of movies though, 2024 has the potential to be a really good year for Star Wars. On the animation front, the next project we're getting is The Bad Batch Season 3, the final season. I'm going to be covering that with so many theories, breakdowns, reviews. It's going to be a great time. Probably emotional, but a great time nonetheless. Not to mention the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew, so make sure you're subscribed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. And just before I go, I want to tell you about our revamped Patreon page. For as little as $2 a month, you get access to our Discord server, videos not found here on YouTube, mega streams, as we like to call them, and many other perks as well. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always.